Hello again, boys and girls. Well, today I have a story for you, and we are going to work on this I can statement. I can describe what is going on in the story by looking at the illustrations. You worked on this with Moby Max, so let's put it to use. So I have for you Pete the Cat, The First Thanksgiving by Kimberly and James Dean. Now what I'm going to do first is we're just going to do like a picture walk. I'm just going to show you the pictures. I'm going to talk about what I see, and then when I go back and read, we'll see if the story matches the pictures. So here we go. Here's what I see. I see a lunchbox. So this tells me that Pete and his friend are at school. They're sitting at a table. This must be their cubbies. We have cubbies, don't we? And there's a turkey. Maybe that's a decoration on their wall. I see a sign that says Happy Thanksgiving. And this is a flap book, so we can actually know a little more about this story by turning the flaps. So let's see what's inside here. Oh, I see a pilgrim's hat. So, why would there be a pilgrim's hat inside that cubby? We will have to read the story to find out. All right, on the next page, I see some red curtains. And Pete is in a boat, and since we're talking about Thanksgiving, I think that boat is probably the Mayflower. And Pete is wearing that pilgrim hat that was in his cubby. So maybe he is a pilgrim. Oh, and there's some more of his friends in the boat. And they're wearing pilgrim's hats. And yeah, I think this is a girl now because she's wearing what the women pilgrim would wear, or the girl pilgrims. Oh, I didn't do the flaps. All right, let's see what's under this flap. Doesn't look much different. Oh, I do see the difference. The sails are up, the sails are down. So they're traveling, so that really makes me think it's the Mayflower. And then if I look under this flap, look at the waves, how they've come up, and they're smooth here. So that tells me they were traveling a long time. Well, see a calendar. Calendars track time. This month says September 1620, and then the date, the 6th, is circled, and it says set sail. So they're pilgrims on the Mayflower, and they're setting sail on September 6th, 1620. Long time ago. And then I lift the flap. What? More calendars. So September, then comes October, and then November, and all these X's must mark the days that they were on that ship, till finally they got to this X here and put a red box around it. So that must have been when they landed. Oh, I see Pete with a telescope. And if you remember what I said in that book that we read, The Story of the Pilgrims, land ho! I believe that's what Pete's saying. He saw land. Oh, trying to build a house. There's the house finished. Looks pretty good, Pete. Oh, and then it became winter. We remember that winter was hard. And then, bright and sunny, must be spring. Oh, there's a Native American with some corn. And Pete. Pete's made a friend with the Native Americans. Pete the Pilgrim, shaking hands with Native American cat. And there they are, planting their crops, their garden. Oh, and it's growing from the help with that that Native American taught him how to grow things. And there they are sitting down with their Native American friend. And there's another Native American friend and the Pilgrims. And their table is empty, but if I lower the flap, there's their big first feast they had after they learned how to survive. And there's those red curtains again. I wonder. And they're bowing. So when do we bow? After a performance, we did our piggy opera and we bowed at the end of that. So this must be some kind of a performance Pete's doing. Oh, now it looks like Pete's back at home. So he started at school and now he's at home. Looks like there's Mom and maybe a sister. And there's Pete, and they're all thinking things. Let's see what Mom's thinking. Oh, Mom's thinking about Pete, and I bet that is his sister. Sister is thinking, or brother, I don't know, thinking about a skateboard. And Pete, he's thinking about that Mayflower. All right, now we're gonna go back and I'm going to read the story, and then we'll see if the picture walk I took, if it matches, or what parts match the illustrations. So here we go. Pete the Cat, The First Thanksgiving by Kimberly and James Dean. So we have the front cover. If you remember what this part is called, yell it out to me. Yes, the title. And that's also part of the title. But what's this? What are these words? What are these names? Did you say author and illustrator? You're exactly right. And the author's job is to write the story. The illustrator's job is to draw the pictures. Pete was nervous about being a pilgrim in his class's Thanksgiving play, the first Thanksgiving. Just do your best, his best friend Callie said. Pete said he would try. He was ready. His mom had even made him a pilgrim hat, which was really cool. So there we go. What does this part match? Mom made him a pilgrim's hat. What does this part match? He's at school talking with his best friend. Pete took his place at the front of the giant ship that his class had made out of cardboard. Pete was a pilgrim on the Mayflower, so that makes sense. The curtains show us that they're making a performance, and it shows us the Mayflower. In 1620, a group of pilgrims decided to leave England for the New World to build a new life. It was a long, long trip on a big, big ship. All the pilgrims sang. And so they're showing the rough trip, smooth trip, long trip. The dream of a new start in a new world made the hard trip all worth it. For more than 2 months, the pilgrims sailed. So see how the calendar shows us how long the trip took? After 65 days on the ship, the new world finally came into view. Oh, here we go. Land ho! Pete cried. All the pilgrims did a happy dance. The pilgrims arrived in the New World at Plymouth Rock in what is now Massachusetts. Everyone had many chores to do, like growing food, finding water, and building shelters. Remember how we talked about even the kids had to do work? So different from our families today. The first winter in the New World was long and hard. In the spring, the pilgrims had to decide whether to give up and go back to England or keep trying. The pilgrims had heard about the Native Americans, and many worried that they would not be friendly. Pete had never met a cat he didn't like, so he thought they would be kind. And he was right. Pete was right. He made a new friend in Squanto. Squanto and the other Native Americans showed the Pilgrims how to grow crops like corn, beans, and squash. By summer, the Pilgrims had learned how to farm the new land. By fall harvest, the Pilgrims had plenty of food. To thank Squanto and the other Native Americans, the Pilgrims invited them to share the harvest. Pete was relieved. Oh, there they are sharing the harvest. This celebration became known as the first Thanksgiving. Pete was relieved when the play was over. He had remembered all his lines. "Wow, I never thought about how hard it was back then," said Pete. "You did great," Callie said. Later at Thanksgiving dinner with his family, Pete said, "Let's all go around the table and say something we are thankful for." "I'm thankful for my family," said Pete's mom. "I'm thankful for my skateboard," said Bob. So that's his brother. "What are you thankful for?" "I am thankful for the brave Pilgrims that started this new free world," said Pete. "Now, what are you thankful for?"